And if these ships were sailing through the Strait of Gibraltar, then surely they would have managed to get out into the Atlantic and beyond.
So we had a number of people come in after we had already done some introductions with what the Phoenicia is. How many of you don't know what this ship is all about? And you're here and you're wondering what's going on. Okay, we've got a couple for sure. In 1993, off the coast of France, a boat was found in the mud offshore. They were going to build a hotel. They discovered this wooden frame. Well, it turns out that this boat that they found off the coast of Marseille, France, was a Phoenician boat. The Phoenicians dominated the Mediterranean for 3,000 years, up until the Romans eventually conquered the Carthaginian Empire and burned their libraries. We know very little about the Phoenicians because the Romans conquered the Carthaginians. Well, this boat was found, and within the structure of that boat,
how old was it? How old did they date it?
600 BC. 600 BC boat. These aren't our numbers, they're there. It's just quite a fascinating story. So within this boat that they found, the Jules Verne 7 and the Jules Verne 9, were the secrets to constructing a 600 BC era boat. So Captain Philip Beale, he was British Royal Navy and a world adventurer. This is him right here. He had been on other world adventures. He's a historian. He saw this boat and he read the writings of Herodotus, the ancient historian, that indicated the Phoenicians could circumnavigate the globe. And he thought, well, this is a great project. Let's find out if they have the technology to do it. And so he commissioned a group of men in Syria, Abu Hamud and his sons in Arwad, to build this boat. Their family had been building boats for 1,000 years. Commissioned them to build it. They constructed it after the manner of the Phoenicians, hull first, and then they put the ribs on the inside. They used the technology they got out of the mud. They built this boat, and they sailed it out of Syria, down the Suez Canal, over to Oman near Yemen. Who knows the significance of that?
Land of Bountiful.
Land of Bountiful. That's where Nephi and Lehi cut across. They came down the borders of the Red Sea. They cut across, and we've, in our day, we found a land that we think is probably the Land of Bountiful. They went over there, resupplied, and they made this journey. The plan was to come around the coast of Africa and bounce up along here and come back into the Mediterranean, back to their home port. The problem was the currents and the winds wouldn't allow them to do that. Once they got past this area right here where they were driven back for 4 days, who knows the significance of that? Because the currents over here, they will carry you at certain times of the year this direction, the time that they left. But then the currents here are going the opposite direction, and there's times where you just can't make advancements. That happened in the case of Lehi's journey, and it happened in the case of their journey for 4 days. In fact, a storm came up so severe that it broke the mast of their sail was attached to, and they had to do some repairs to the ship. Eventually, they made it out here, and they couldn't turn. The currents and the wind just carried them over. They came within 300 miles of the United States of America before they could finally catch the current that brought them back over into the Mediterranean. And so when they hit about right here, there were people who were calling them, Rod Meldrum specifically, calling them on a sat phone and saying, hey, if you'll just come over to America, if you'll just come visit us right over here, we'll resupply your ship. It's only 300 miles. You'll be here in 3 days because they were making 100 miles a day.
Free food.
Free food. You can make this journey for free. And he said, no. That wasn't our mission. Our mission is to come back over into the Mediterranean. And so that's exactly what he did. Once he caught this current, he came back over here. This was in 2009. Okay? 2009.
Right.
In 2019, of course, that narrative kept coming to him, and he is a historian, so he had read about Phoenician artifacts and writings and stuff being found in America. And he's like, Well, okay, fine, I'll make the journey. He decided to go ahead and do it. And so let's see, on September 28th, they set sail. They crossed through the Mediterranean, out past the rocks of Gibraltar. And once they got into the Atlantic, they carried them down to the Canary Islands. And once they got flowing, there was no turning back. They're in a sailboat. If somebody fell over, they couldn't pick them up. They were on their own. Yeah. But they, within, you can see, September 28th to February 4th, they pulled into Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So that's just a little longer synopsis of what the boat is, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a background so that when we delve into some of these subjects, you can see why we're going there and why we're so passionate about this journey. Philip Beale is a really good guy. I've met him a couple of times. He's on the board of the Heartland Research Group. He's 100% on board with what we're doing and trying to restore.
No pun intended there.
Exactly. And it's great to have him there. We consult with him on a regular basis on how to do things, and he always has advice and answers, not only for the boat but for world history. It's really awesome. So there's a quick overview.
All right, thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
And let's have closing prayer.